Welcome back to the Anachroschism. When we left off last time, I suppose you could call the last segment of episodes Karash got an item.
Just an item.
Just a regular old item.
Just
Nothing
some item.
special.
Yeah.
You guys made your...
Crash found a hat.
He looks very stylish. You guys made your way out of the Black Bazaar and at Tessian's direction, given that he knows the city and all that jazz, headed down back towards Patron's Port, but a different section of it this time, essentially going up Kane Street, which of course he could describe for you if you would like as you're walking to it.
Yeah, it's a big thoroughfare. It's the one road that he was kind of pointing out earlier that kind of runs along the port. Like a lot of things branch off of it, basically. Because it runs alongside the port, it's got a lot of like businesses and stuff. Not so much a market, but like, you know, if you need like a haircut or like, I don't know,
An orphan.
Yeah, there is an orphanage on it. Yeah,
Yes.
You know, like cobblers or stuff, like the kind of things that you would just buy for regular things.
Yeah, day-to-day life. Not adventurer style shops, just like, here's what you need to live in the city. Here's our equivalent of a grocery store.
Yeah.
Here's a Walmart.
There's no Walmarts.
There's
but,
no
like,
Walmart. I lied about that. Along the way, you see a timber and brick building that kind of sticks out a bit, if only because of its white shingled roof on one, just shortly off one of the sides of the branches of the main thoroughfare of Kane Street, kind of like on a corner of sorts. And it has a sign outside that says the Wayward Shield. The sign is in the shape of a shield.
Shocking. Somebody lost their shield. It's so wayward.
Exactly. It's made of wood. You could use it like a shield.
Exactly.
Come on.
Well, go inside and, you know, I guess see like what's it look like inside? Is it packed or?
Inside, as you are now basically mid-afternoon, by the time you make your way here, coming out of the Black Bazaar, you're probably approaching 3:30 or so. So you got another hour-ish before you should probably start making your way back to the keep if you want to be in position by sunset. And the interior of this place is relatively nice. There is a long bar on one side with a brass countertop. There is a large candelabra on the ceiling. Ceilings are kind of raised. This looks like a bigger building from the outside, but you realize that at least the first floor actually has like these kind of vaulted ceilings that are maybe 15 feet high. So there might not be as many stories to this as you first thought, but it is an inn in addition to a tavern. There is, what kind of sticks out is that there's a series of tables scattered throughout, as you've kind of come to expect from these establishments, where people can sit, have a meal, have a drink, in addition to the bar seating. But two things stick out. One, there is a table covered with green felt in the corner of the room, where they seem to be playing poker, that rare and mythical beast that is translated into this world through some mysterious means. And on the far left side, like the bar is straight ahead as you come in, there's a check-in desk at the right. On the left-hand side, there is a rectangular raised platform. Looks like it could serve as either a small stage or even like a soapbox for people to come up and speak on or read poetry and the like. And at the bar is a heavier-built human male.
Is anyone playing poker?
There is a handful of people at the table as we speak.
Okay.
Oh, don't tell me you want to lose your money to poker as well, Tessian.
Well, lose my money? What do you mean? You don't think I would win?
Oh, I just mean I'm planning on going to play, and so I wouldn't want you to join the other poor, unfortunate souls who are going to lose their money to me.
Oh, so it's a challenge then. Karash, you're a man of stunning intellect now. Perhaps you could join us in a game of cards as well.
I rather enjoyed cards before, but it was just because I enjoyed the bluffing aspect of it. But I'll be honest, realizing now it's just a game of numbers, it sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Lena, at this point you need to join as well. A
I'd
bartender
rather
will take
watch.
one round of drinks. We will be at the poker table, please.
I don't know how to play these sorts of games.
We'll
Bluffing
teach you as
is
we go, but just
not
make
my
sure to
forte.
match the betting.
Okay.
I just want your money in my pocket.
I mean, I could just give it to you right now.
No, I want to earn it.
Can you tell she's a princess?
How did you notice?
Because you don't appreciate money.
Not even a little bit.
So you can toss a couple gold pieces to the man at the bar. He's got like this oversized brown coat and slacks and auburn hair, and he can start working on your drinks, and you can make your way over to this poker table, at which there are currently 4 other individuals. So you'll kind of have your own squad, even though poker is not a team game. But you can all take a seat. There are enough seats. There's actually 8 seats at the table.
Yes.
It worked out like it was meant to be this way, I suppose. Or maybe I just lied and made it. No, I'm just kidding. It was 8 and there were 4 people there. I closed that window. No wonder. I'm like, wait a minute. Where did that thing go? Hold on. I get it back quick. I'm going to have... How do I want to do this? Let's have everyone roll me 2 d20s.
2 d20s.
Yes. Michaela, one of those is at disadvantage.
Okay. D20.
So you're basically rolling 3, and on one of the,
Oh, I'm rolling 3? Okay.
yeah, you're rolling 3, but taking the lowest on a set of 2 of them, if that makes sense. You're going to end
Okay.
up with 2, but
Got it.
because you have no experience with this.
2 d20s.
Just let me know the
So-
results, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So
Like add them together or
No, just separately.
God, I'm sorry. How do I do this again?
So just /R space 20.
Slash
Yeah.
R. Is
Or you could do
Okay.
/R space 2d20, and I'll do them both at once.
my first one was 19, my second one was 17, and my third one was 5.
Okay.
I got 19 and 15 myself.
19 and
13
15?
and a nat 20.
Oh shit.
So I got 9 and 18, but I'm re-rolling the 9 with luck.
Okay.
Does the order that we give them to you matter? Should I if I roll the 15 first, does that
Yes.
matter?
Fuck.
Okay, 15 then 19.
Okay.
So
You're gonna spend another luck, Isaac?
no, 9 and 18.
Ouch.
And let's see how your table mates are doing. God.
Poorly, please. Poorly.
Please, poorly.
You would think I was making this up.
20, 20, 20. Clean the party out. We have no money, everyone.
So, you guys take a seat. Bartender eventually brings your drinks over to you. Table stakes are 10 gold apiece to buy in, and they slide you all a stack of chips of different denominations. And they shuffle up and deal. And at the risk of turning this into a full-blown rounders,
Don't splash the pot.
don't splash. In my house, I will splash the pot whenever the fuck. Such a bad accent, but how are you going to hate on John Malkovich? Come on.
No, man.
It's the one role I can think of where he just eats the scenery, and yet it's still
does.
kind of fun.
He's a nice guy at the end. Pay him.
Oh, he is super good in Space Force now, by the way. The
Man,
new show
he's
on Netflix.
mon-
I've heard good things about Space Force, yeah. He beat me. Straight up.
Pity
Um,
man.
There's a bit of an acclimatization period. The people who are playing here, 3 of the 4 of them seem to be pros of a sort, like they're regulars. There seems to be somebody else who kind of sat down for funsies and has a couple drinks in them and is not playing their best. Lena, this is all relatively new to you. You have played card games before. Poker in particular is not something you're especially well versed in. The other 3 of you have all played to some extent before. It feels like you're picking up on it relatively quickly, though, Lena. And you scoop a good pot with a small flush earlier on, and Tessie and you hit on a full house and collect some money off of one of the strangers. Crash, you're holding your own. You've raised a few pots before the flop and gotten people to fold. Haven't really connected, had a lot of hands yet. And Isaac tries a poorly timed bluff and gets snapped off by somebody. Loses a little bit of his stack, but not too bad. And then it seems like the longer you're sitting there, as you're there for maybe like a little over a half an hour, just getting more hands and playing further, you're starting to pick up that these pros are not as good as you first thought they were. Maybe it's because these stakes aren't super high, so these are not the best, but while they seem like they're composed and put together, they're actually giving off a lot of different tells when you get into hands with them heads up. Because I rolled a natural 20 for them first and a natural 1 second. Real rap. Um, Karash, you in particular take somebody's entire stack.
Damn.
Because you just notice that they're kind of like twitching a bit after they've made a big bluff. You're pretty confident it's a bluff, and sure enough, you snap them off with just a decent hand, and they look disappointed because they thought they were going to get you to fold, and you're like, no, I knew it the whole time. Tessin, you get a nice pot in the second half of the game with your 19. Isaac, you make up for your earlier loss and then some. You've realized your mistake the first time you bluffed. You picked a better spot this time, and then you actually had it another time and made some nice money. Lena, you're kind of falling apart under the pressure.
Beginner's luck, and that's
Yeah.
falling apart.
Yeah.
You're like
this
you're
is
playing
very
too many
fitting.
hands. You're like any two cards can hit the flop, and so you're going a little bit too nuts, and you end up basically breaking even. I will say
Perfect.
that on your initial 10 gold buy-in, the party as a whole, I can do it individually. If you each have 10 gold, you can spend. I'll give you individual totals, and if not, I'll do it as a group.
You might as well do it individually so
Yeah.
that we can, because I'll be honest, we haven't been separating our gold very well, so we should do it at some point.
Yeah,
So
I know.
We might as well do it now.
I'm leaving that to you guys. I am
Yeah, I
not
know.
keeping track of y'all's money. So Karash ends up the biggest winner. You end up with 17 gold off your initial 10 gold buy-in. Tessian is not far behind. He ends up with 16. Isaac comes out slightly ahead because you guys are basically you're betting the equivalent of like bronze and silver, and this is not a huge stakes game, but you end up with effectively gold pieces. Isaac ends up slightly at 12, and Lena breaks even, gets back her initial 10 gold buy-in,
Perfect. How fitting.
and two of the people at the table are cleaned out. Another one is short stacked, and the other person is just below where he started. He fended for himself okay, but did end up slightly down. So all four of you at least break even, if not make money at this table.
Well, I told the other people, thank you all for handing us your money. We appreciate your donations. And good game.
What's nice about it is everybody at the table did seem relatively friendly, and again, because these are not huge stakes, I mean, it's gold, but it's not like you're playing for like a $10,000 or 10,000 platinum buy-in.
Right.
They're friendly enough about it. They take their L with aplomb. So you all can add a little bit of gold to your coffers on a small stakes poker game.
So I will just start. I'll keep my 400 and say, okay, but it's not part of the group one, so the group one probably goes down. And that might be an easier way to do it.
For what?
For gold?
Eh.
Because you had 1,400 total.
Yeah.
So I was saying I have 400, and I'm also part of the 1,400. That's wrong. So I'm just going to keep mine separate from the total.
Yeah, do that. Keep yours.
Okay.
I mean, I'm adding mine in there, and I just assume Tessian will just take a loss of gold at some point because he's been the most frivolous with it anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, maybe we could just start giving you rewards that are divided by 4 instead of having a party total and go
Yeah.
that route if you guys want. And you just got to keep track.
I just
Yeah.
by chance I've had gold because of something that happened once or twice, so I've been using that for stuff when I'm paying off.
I think we just
half.
hit 1,510. I think, given what Tessian just won himself. So like we could easily split that 1,000 up between the four of us, and then I could just keep like 510 or something like that. Like if we care, I don't know that it matters.
It's up to you.
I don't know that it matters right now.
Yeah, it could be done off air.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Worry about it later.
So about an hour passes. You're welcome to get additional drinks if you'd like. Karash, this is especially interesting for you because it's essentially a chance to put this newfangled ability of yours to use. Like you already have a game that intellectually challenges you, and you're putting it through the paces. The thing works. Like you could already kind of tell just in the immediate aftermath, but like you mentioned, you are kind of seeing that. Yeah, before sometimes I could tell when somebody looked weak or strong. You know, you're familiar with that, especially because people have looked weak or strong in your presence when you've threatened them. Whereas now you're like, oh, well, now I know these cards and I have a better chance of doing this and these odds, and it is noticeable immediately.
Oh my god. It's so remarkable playing this now as I'm able to actually observe what's going on. It's so much more fun than it was before. Is anybody else used to this? Like, is this something you all do normally? You just observe things as they're happening?
Yeah, like what do you mean? Like thinking?
Yes, I kind of think that's what's going on. Yes.
Yeah, I suppose. I like to think we've all had our share of keen insights over the course of our adventure. Even you, Karash, have had some valuable nuggets of information, although I value being able to say valuable nuggets of information and have you understand what I'm saying.
I yes, appreciate that. Thank you. Oh God, my embarrassment is immense. Um, are we alone now, or are we still at the poker table?
I was imagining you guys had kind of like collected your winnings at the end of the game at the hour, and
That's
maybe
fair.
gathered back by the bar or something while you figured out what to do
Yeah.
next.
I said my shitty comment to them. I didn't intend to stick around after.
And now let's talk about the Conatus.
Touche.
Yeah.
Lena, earlier I was mentioned while we were in the Black Bazaar. We were concerned that there was a possibility that you were being eavesdropped upon, magically or otherwise. That's what I was worried about and curious about. Do we know anything at all? Have any idea at all what's causing that?
Well, do you see these mistletoe earrings I wear?
Yes, of course, the magical earrings.
Yeah. My grandmother is able to, how do I track me, I guess, through it.
Keep tabs on.
Keep tabs. Because they're magical earrings, she's able to do that. And
Much to my chagrin.
my grandmother is trustworthy, and I did speak with her on this back in Waychester as well. And I think the verdict of that conversation was that there was basically no reason to be concerned, I think. Well, maybe
She had only
fine.
done it a handful of times since you left, like every few weeks perhaps. And the one time was at your behest because you sent her that letter, so she used that to find out where you were to come talk to you to address it.
Yeah.
Beyond that, she kind of explained how familiarity with the target and or its possessions was a key factor. So she was able to do it because of her connection with you in a way that some random person wouldn't be able to. It's not to say it was impossible, especially if they were powerful, but it's much less likely because familiarity with the target trumps magical ability in the case of scrying.
And not to derail Karash's question, but we did just find out that your grandmother was keeping things from you and Tessian and has her own secrets. So you can't really trust anyone. That's been the
Isaac.
theme, don't you see, of this trip to Black Harbor.
I didn't know about the Conatus because I was not meant to be told about the Conatus until I was of age to
I
pursue
see.
it.
Whatever you want to tell yourself, Lena.
You've met my grandmother. You know what she's like.
Isaac's unhealthy level of paranoia aside, he's not wrong. It is entirely possible that there's all sorts of things we don't know about for one reason or another that your grandmother or anyone else might be keeping from you for the mere fact that they care about you and don't want you having information that could potentially harm you or result to harm of the kingdom as a whole. It's fair if slightly snide.
And of course, the Conatus itself isn't immune to tampering, I have to imagine. If people knew where these shrines were or how to access them, I mean, who's to stop looters or anyone else from trying to disrupt it? So it may very well be that these are kept a secret for their own protection for the future, not just to deceive us. I mean, obviously, I can't rule anything conspiratorial out, Isaac. You do have a point there. But for the time being, I am willing to accept that this might just be a crucial safety mechanism in how the Conatus works. Secrecy is often used for that sort of thing.
Oh, another revelation I've had in the course of my evening. I don't know a nice way of saying this, but I'm just going to say it. It seems entirely likely that the event that caused Grail to be ripped from this dimension to whatever dimension she was originally from very possibly could have killed her, particularly in the way in which we saw her disappear. I don't know if anybody else was willing to say that out loud, but it seems quite reasonable to assume at this point.
Teleportation magic of any kind certainly has risks. Yes, I know I personally was simply hoping for the best. and that she was not just dispersed amongst the, the planes, as it were. But you've a fair point, Karash. There's no guarantee that that Grail is alive anywhere.
Yeah, I see the headband leaves a little room for improvement on bedside manner, Karash, but while what you say is a possibility, sure, it sounds like from the way that she had interacted with Tessian when it happened, implies that she probably is alive, or at least survived the transfer. Who knows now? And that's something that I struggle with.
I will also mention that given my own interaction with the phenomenon, I myself was a little out of phase for brief moments, and I was not destroyed during them, simply returned once it had ended. So I am inclined to believe that it is a matter of where you are in existence, and not a matter of simply existing. I would like to think, at least.
Which reminds me, that necklace may very well be nothing more than a means of transporting between dimensions that we can use if we decide we want to cross over in order to pursue Isaac's false father, or, for that matter, what might be my false kin.
I don't disagree, and I had considered trying to... Well, I am a little remiss to admit it, but I was not against the idea of trying to use it as a focal point with my own teleportation magic to see if I could somehow follow where it was leading. But the issue becomes, there's a great risk, after all. Much like an anchor, it can bring you in one direction, it can keep you where you are, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it'll help you get anywhere else, only where it is stuck. So just because it can get us to the other side does not mean that we would have a way to get back.
Yes, and the thought had occurred to me. Welcome to the conversation, Karak. And now Lena's like, great.
But no, I'm the dumb one.
But I have the same concerns of Tessian, both can we get home, or if we know enough about it to have it even work, or will it shoot us into the vacuum of space, or a million other things. So I think it's something to keep considered as a backup plan, but I just feel like there's too much risk to try it unprompted now.
It is encouraging to know that your other father, I don't know, Fodryden, he is capable of traversing back and forth. It means that a way is possible. However, I don't know if we'll be able to do it. So if we did wish to face him, it seems it might be more prudent to do so here on our own terms, where we have allies and resources we know, than thrusting ourselves onto whatever potential hellscape exists on the other side.
I like that. Fiden, we can call him. Dryden, although his name is also Faust, so...
Faust Dryden.
But...
Faust Dryden.
Faust
Thank
Dryden.
you, pigeon someone.
Oh, God. Wordplay. If nothing else, well, actually, is it possible that your father has any idea how it is that the transfer is made or done? I don't recall him mentioning anything about it, but it seems as good a place as any. He seems to be the only one of us, possibly the only one in the world, who is aware of the very possibility of it.
I think we did ask him a little, but I suppose... I don't know. It's going to be hard to know how much he's willing to give us at this point.
It could be something we ask him, but he's currently dead, so... or being revived, I suppose.
I feel like this is a question for once we've completed the conatus, and he's willing to divulge more since we've gone about doing this task he seems to think we need to do. I mean, again, I'm inclined to agree with him on it, but part of me thinks he might just be guessing as best he can. You know, an educated guess from a man like him is nothing to scoff at, but there's no guarantee he knows how any of this works either. No,
and I will defer to any of you on matters of the arcane, because it's certainly not an area I'm well versed in. What magic I hold is not my own, but comes from court above, so I can't pretend to begin to understand any of it. But I am very, very concerned and curious because at some point it feels like we are going to need to find the means by which the transfer is made, if only to block him from coming back over.
Agreed.
Is there any sort of wizard circle in Black Harbor that we can go speak to, or Library of the Arcane that we can...
The library in my family's keep is going to be the bulk of the knowledge on it. I suppose the closest who would be skilled in such matters might be Thea and her family. They have a small plot, so to speak, a warehouse of sorts that would lead to their own estate elsewhere. But outside that, Black Harbor is not a place of, how would you say, great arcane achievement outside of my own family.
No.
And ours leans towards a more, I would say, sorceress variety. The magic derived from the blood and such. Intense study and the like that you would see in places like Lycidian, for example, aren't quite as common over here. But,
Fair enough. That Lycidian may need to be one of our next stops then in our odd little journey. Though we do still have your father's study to search through, Isaac, and heaven knows what we'll find there.
Probably nothing good.
Probably. Presumably, at this point, nothing that comes out of that man is going to be 100% good. Oh, God.
Except
kinda- I just
Isaac, of
kinda, like,
course.
look
Except
at-
Isaac. He's a real keeper.
He came out of his mother, not his father.
Anatomy aside.